Gerrit, clearly it's win or go home for you guys today. Just what's the feeling like in that clubhouse right now?
Yeah, I think it's just it's a focused feel. I mean, we know it's at stake, and guys are just going about their routine, getting ready to go.
Other questions? We'll go to Nathan, the third row on your left, Gerrit.
Gerrit, Aaron Judge, we've heard so many stories about the way he lifts guys up in the clubhouse and makes guys feel so welcome. When he's going through, some struggles here, what's your message to him as one of the, fellow leaders on this team? Do you take it upon yourself to say anything or try and support him in that way?
I mean, I just make sure that he knows I'm there for him. If, whatever if he feels like he needs to bounce something off or, and then really just, supporting him, during the game, just like anybody else, tough at bat, you let him know that, hey man, we were with you every pitch there, whether it's, a pat on the butt or a pat on the shoulder. It's sometimes it's less about what you say and it's more about just the feeling of togetherness that you can create.
Other questions? We'll go to Eric, the first row on your right, Gerrit.
Gerrit, how is your preparation for a game that you're not sure you're going to actually start?
Well, I mean, I just assume I'm going to start it. So, yeah.
Other questions? We'll go to Yvonne right here. We'll get you the microphone.
Hi, Gerrit. What could you tell to the fans that are, of course, a little heartbroken right now about the game tonight?
Yeah, I mean, well, we're getting ready to go right now. Obviously, we're in a tough position, but there's a lot of baseball left to be played, and anything can happen. So, we're excited to get back out there. I mean, hey, we're still in the World Series. Hey, we're in the Bronx. We still got a shot at this thing, and so, we're just looking to try to play a little bit better, and really attack the opposition from the first pitch tonight. So,
standing on your right, Gerrit, Brendan.
Hey, Gerrit. With you guys down 3-0, how much, if any, conversation was there about you coming and pitching tonight on short rest?
I didn't have any conversations.
Other questions? We'll go to Ron, then Anthony.
When the guys are talking about each other, what are some of the more uplifting things you've tried to tell each other that someone said that stand out?
I mean, I think we try to, just remind ourselves that anything can happen. I mean, we've been telling ourselves a lot, really rather if we're up or down, there's a lot of baseball left, just to try to keep us, in the zone, in the moment, focus, regardless of, what the results are dictating. So there's a lot of that. And sometimes, like I said earlier, sometimes it's just a smile. Sometimes it's just, putting your arm around somebody, but we got to get after the ball. So, we're also pumping ourselves up, getting ready to go. Talking like ball players like we always do, getting ourselves ready for the first pitch.
And we're all creatures of routine for 7.5 months, and there's a similarity to every day. Do the circumstances now make it harder, or does the comfort with routine just push you through it?
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I think once you start your process of the day, you settle back into that routine for sure.
And Anthony, one row behind.
Gerrit, the way the Dodgers are utilizing their bullpen in the postseason, it's unique. As a pitcher, what sort of challenge do you think that poses for the Yankees, the way the Dodgers are deploying their bullpen?
Well, I mean, the first thing that jumps to mind is how talented the group is, really. The strategy from my perspective would be to, limit the amount of looks that certain hitters get at certain pitchers, play matchups, whatever in your favor. And then I think the cherry on top is that, they really have a lot of good options. So there doesn't seem to be a real a real weak spot in their approach because of the talent that they have. So,
First row on your left, Garrett.
Right here. Do you think that the Grand Slam on first game one hit you guys so hard that you haven't been able to come back up from it?
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, we put our. I mean, we probably would have liked to have created more opportunities to score. Since then along the way, but I mean, we were base hit away from tying the game and getting back into the game. In game two, and then last night I think, I mean, it's a World Series. You got to sometimes give credit to your opponent. I mean, Walker was on his game and used a 2-run lead in the first inning from Freddie's strike again to keep attacking the strike zone and put the pressure on us. So I feel like even though that was a historic and a bit of a gut punch in game one, like it doesn't really affect our motivation going forward. Like we're coming in and we're working and we're being diligent about our process. So we've done a good job of flushing the bad stuff over the course of the year and been resilient and trying to stay even keeled when things are really going well as well, just to not get ahead of ourselves. So I like our process in that regard, and to me it seems that we're following that. So
Go to the second row with John.
We've all spoken plenty about the ways that you're able to help the pitchers on your team, even when you're not starting. But just like to give one example, Aaron Judge said that, when you guys first met each other, you kind of helped him with the scouting report that was on him and talked to him in those ways. In a situation like this, when the offense is struggling, are there things that you can say and notice about the way they're being attacking, or do you feel more of a need to stay in your lane, really?
Yeah, I think it's delicate. I think it's delicate. I mean, even though I like to tout my prowess in hitting in the major leagues, it's not on par with any of the guys that we have. So, I'm not an expert on how to hit the ball. Usually, I tend to be better at how to not hit the ball. There are parts of my conversations throughout the year with everybody that the objective is really just not to change that, right? So in no way am I going out of my way to like add to any of the extra voices. I mean, we have a lot of really qualified people who know exactly what they're doing. And sometimes I think in that regard, saying less, instills maybe just a bit more trust in the individual too. I mean, it's not like we're apart and we're not speaking in terms of the team in general, but I mean, it is a fine line, like you alluded to. So it's probably about sticking to what you normally do, and maybe sometimes less is more.
Got Dave in the next row.
Garrett, no team ever obviously coming into this thinks they could ever be down 0-3. I was just wondering, does it take something mentally to kind of put aside the I can't believe we're in this spot and switch gears to we just got to think about today and focus on the ahead part of it?
Yeah, I think regardless of the situation, you don't want to be looking ahead, right? So you're in game one. Certainly, you have dreams about winning the World Series. Certainly, the other outcome, losing the World Series. But the challenge is to just focus on game one and try to win that game, and starting with the first pitch. So, while it's human nature to again probably still ponder what the outcome of the series will be. The outcome of the series, is irrelevant past the first pitch, really and truly. So there's probably a bit of a mental battle, but like Ron alluded to earlier, I think the creatures of habit, characteristic of players and the routine that we have to get into every single day. I think that helps you just slide back into the mentality that, okay, sure, we have to win 4. Well, guess what? We had to win 4 going into game 1. So, in that respect, like, things haven't changed that much. So it's one game at a time, one pitch at a time.
Do 2 last ones. Mark, third row on your far right.
Okay. Boone had said that with everything that you went through this spring, that he didn't view you as an option to come back on short rest. I guess, has that experience made, since you've come back, you guys be any more careful, and just physically, how do you feel right now?
Yeah, I feel great right now, and I'm available whenever the team wants me to pitch. So there's nothing preventing me from pitching if the team wants me to pitch.
We'll finish up 5 rows back on your left with Jay.
Gerrit, when you first came back, you had your ups and downs early in the season over here. And now you're throwing the ball a lot better. You had a great start in game one. What is it for you that you feel like you're doing better than you did at the beginning of your season returning from injury? And where are you physically and mentally relative to then?
Yeah, well, I think I'm in better shape now. There are some games, coming back, as much as you can prepare to put yourself, in a position to pitch into major leagues. Once you come back from injury, I mean, it just keeps stacking up, right? I mean, it's every 4 days, every 5 days, and so there's a couple of situations where whether it's fatigue or not being very, very sharp, that the floor kind of gets I just got blown up a couple times, and the more stamina, the more familiarity you build, with how the league is acting at that point, I think gives you a better opportunity to to raise the floor and be more consistent. There were still moments of brilliance, really early, but being able to sustain that, or sustain like a high level of quality. Sometimes we had a couple bad games, and to be honest, that can happen, when you're fully healthy. Like, no one is immune from that, no one is immune from that. But I mean, I feel now like I'm in good shape. I have a reserve while I'm pitching, so if I need to dip into the tank, I can go get it. And then I can go get it again. It's not like a one-time thing. And then familiarity both with myself and my delivery, how I'm moving, how well I'm concentrating the ball in the areas of the strike zone that I want to get. I'm not missing east and west. I mean, very rarely anymore. Things are more defined. And then, the ebbs and flows of the season. So jumping into the middle of the season, not really having any experience on how the league has evolved over the first 4 months, how now having the experience, having seen, how things and the ebbs and flow has gone, I take that information and apply that with the tools that I have at this point. And so I think those things, all kind of contribute to just being just more consistent, day in and day out.
All right, Gerrit, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anthony Rizzo's on his way in. What's up, Anthony? How you doing? All right, we'll get started with Anthony, who has the first question. We'll start with Brendan standing on your right, Anthony.
Anthony, you spoke with the team pregame yesterday. Can you just share what your message was and what you were trying to get across?
Yeah, I mean, we had a meeting yesterday. It was pretty quick, pretty brief, to the point. Just tell the guys, how much I love them and whatnot, but try to keep that in house. But it was great. We all came out ready to play, and we just didn't come up with a win last night.
In facing 3-0 today, do you expect you guys to do anything similar today, or do you try to treat it like it's a regular day despite the circumstances?
I mean, we got to win, obviously, right? We just got to win today. There's no tomorrow anymore. There really isn't. Today could have been our last drive to the ballpark. Today could be this team's ever together. This could be the last time we're ever together. So being down 3-0, you just want to force another game. And by forcing another game, hopefully that lifts a lot of weight off our shoulders. And we'll see, but it starts tonight.
Other questions? We'll go to Tim. 5 rows back on your right. For Jason Dominguez, super young guy, highly regarded as a prospect on the roster, but hasn't had a huge role this month. What do you hope he can take from this experience overall heading into his career?
I think that the experience of being up here is amazing. You can't replicate this by watching. He's in the trenches with us in all the meetings. So last year he came up and was hot when he came up, and this year was a little different. You know, he had an injury and coming back from that. The league will always make adjustments. So I think his future, his ceiling is so high, and he's such a good person, and he works hard. So, you know, his moment might come tonight, and he'll be ready.
And just in general, his cups of coffee, like you mentioned, the last couple of years. What have you thought of him as a person, as a worker, as somebody who's around, not just as a player?
I think he asks all the right questions. He's worked really hard on his English. He speaks really good English. That doesn't go overlooked. It's not easy being a foreign player and coming here and learning the language. So he cares about his teammates. He cares about his work, and I'm excited to see his future develop.
We'll stay right there with Gabe.
Having been part of a 3-1 comeback, do you draw anything from that, or is it a little daunting to look back knowing that all the things had to line up as they did for you guys to pull that off back in 16?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to win one, right? The one you win is the hardest. For us, then Game 5, I would say, was the hardest at the time. And just winning one sets it up. I mean, you got Garrett Cole lurking tomorrow. If we can get there, you got pretty pissed off Carlos Rodon for Game 6. If we can get there, and Game 7 is always a crapshoot. So, I mean, they make documentary. There's a documentary out right now on Game 7, right? So, but that's a long ways away. And Louis Hill will come out tonight firing, and we got to have his back. They're going bullpen day. We know that they have a really good bullpen. So, hopefully we can throw up a couple big numbers early, and everyone can relax a little bit.
One row ahead with Jake on your right.
You mentioned earlier that a win tonight could kind of lift the weight off the shoulders a bit. Can you just talk a little bit more about what that weight is specifically, what you mean by that?
Man, how do I do that? That's a good question. The weight, I mean, it's just, I don't know. You just sometimes in this game in life, you put a little pressure on yourself for something. You worry about probably 90% of things that never actually happen, and when that time comes and it happens, you're like, why did I worry so much about that? Maybe that I relate to a little bit, but as far as trying to win, look. We started this year winning 4 games in a row. We know we're very capable of winning 4 games in a row. So hopefully we can end this year winning 4 games in a row. That's what we have to do to be champions. The Dodgers will not lay down by any means. They're a really good team, but we win tonight, we get to play tomorrow.
Up front on your left, Chris.
Anthony, last night, Judge said that he feels like he's let the team down with how he's performed. You're obviously super tight with him. How do you think he's handled just the lack of results that he's gotten so far?
I mean, he's never let this team down. He's there. His presence, who he is in the clubhouse, what he brings to all of us. He's never let us down. So he comes in every day. He's Aaron Judge. He's the same guy. As I would say, most of the beat reporters know in here every single day. So he's been such a joy to play with, and hopefully his biggest hits of his career coming up tonight and onward.
Third row on your left, Nathan.
Anthony, kind of on a related note, I mean, we've seen and heard so many examples of how Aaron lifts his teammates up. When he's going through the struggles that he's having right now, how do you kind of lift him up in this scenario? What's your sort of way of supporting him?
Well, perspective, that's what life is all about, is perspective. And this is, for us, one of the most important things in our life right now. And we know that, but at the end of the day, being a good person, having good character, being there when times are tough, how you show up is what defines you. That's really, when guys come back in this game, any former player comes back, no one's asking how good of a player he is. They're asking what kind of guy, what kind of player he is. And you want to be remembered in this game as a good person, a good leader, from my experience. So to lift him up, just be his friend. We're friends. We've created a lifelong friendship these last few years. My wife Emily, his wife Sam are really good friends, and we just talk. It's a brotherhood.
The second row on your left, Peter.
Hi, Anthony. In your experience, this being a veteran group, I mean, have you found that team meetings are something you guys respond well to? And was there anything in particular that kind of compelled you guys to hold this one?
I mean, it didn't work last night, so I guess it only works if we win, right? So, but again, I think it's just a matter of us being together, and we are together, and we have hitters meetings every day where it's basically like a little, it is a meeting every day where guys say stuff. So our pitchers have done such a good job for us. I think if you ask any guy on this team how close we are, you'll pretty much get the same answer from any of the relievers to the starting pitchers to all the position players to the bench guys. It's everyone feels part of this, and there's not a lot of teams that every guy can say that.
Third row on your right, Laura.
With the bullpen being such a big strength of the Dodgers, they haven't been shy of using both a lot of guys, but also giving opposing hitters various looks just from inning to inning. As a hitter for the lineup, how much of a challenge is that for you, and is there a benefit at all to it?
I think the more you see a reliever, obviously, the more comfortable you are. You're seeing these guys on a nightly basis now. You pretty much know the guys you're going to face at this point, kind of in the ebbs and flow of the series. So, I feel like seeing the starting pitcher now is a little bit more difficult than seeing the relievers, because you know how the relievers are going to kind of attack you. You know their game plan more than the starting pitcher. So in the game today, you really are seeing a starter twice, and you're seeing the relievers more. So you just got to capitalize on their mistakes, no matter if it's a starter or a reliever.
Same row on the aisle, Ron.
Years from now, what do you think you'll remember most from this year's group in your mind, and what makes it distinct from some of the other Yankee teams you were on?
I don't know. You have to ask me that question at the end of the season. Today we have a big game to try to force another game, and that's our main focus. So it's a great group. Love all the guys. It's been a lot of fun, but we're hoping it doesn't end tonight.
Does each year have a different personality?
Oh yeah, every year is different, and every single year. This team will never be the same after this year, and that's how it goes for every single team. Good, bad, or indifferent. And when you come together as a group like this, it's always memorable because, like I said, not every team you're on, not the most talented team always wins. I think always the best team wins, and we have been a very good team. I mean, we do have a lot of talent, but the way we've come together has been very special to me personally.
Take a couple last ones, Eric and then Meredith.
Anthony, you said a few minutes ago that driving in, this could be the last time, you guys together as a team, last time driving to the stadium, etc. Have you considered this possibly could be your last game in a Yankee uniform?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's an option. I love playing here. I love being a Yankee. I love what comes with it. I love the standard that has been set here from all the generations, the great Yankees in the past. So yeah, this could very well be. I'm a realist. It's not like I'm naive to it. But I think all that will shape out when the time is right. It's more just driving to the field and being with this group that means the most to me.
Meredith in the first row.
Anthony Luis Heel has had an unbelievable rookie season, but this is a huge spot for him. What is it about his mentality, the way he approaches things, that leads you to believe he should be able to handle tonight?
I think first off, he has an electric fastball, so believing in that. Our back's against the wall, and at the same time, kind of just got to let it all go, right? And if we can let it all go and just relax and be ourselves, hopefully everything turns around. It's not going to turn around in one pitch or one swing, but just a little bit of momentum is all we need, and that's the only way that we're going to attempt this historic comeback, right? We're down 3-0. There's no secret. And Louis Hill's on the bump tonight. He has a great opportunity to set the tone for us.
We'll finish up with Tyler in the fourth row on your right.
Anthony, you've competed against the Dodgers for a long time, with the Cubs in the postseason now, whether it's this series or just throughout. What in your view has made them such a sustainable winner with really no letdown year to year?
Yeah, I think they're a factory of success. They've had really good starting pitching. Clayton Kershaw has been amazing for them for 10, 12, 15 years. And they brought in guys around him always, so he was an ace for so long, and then all the hitters and position players that have gone through there, they just seem to breed that winning culture. And then again, they have a pretty nice bankroll behind them. They have a great fan base, and Dave Roberts did an amazing job. Don Mattingly did an amazing job. I don't think I was in the league when Joe Torre was there, but it's been a franchise that models a lot of success my entire big league career.
All right, Anthony, best of luck tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.